There is exactly one piece of information on your keyboard that was not put there for your eyes. Every key has a letter or a symbol. Every label exists so you can look down, find what you need, and send a finger to it. The entire surface of the keyboard is a visual system, a grid designed for a brain that looks first and acts second. But in this vast visual system, there are exactly two keys that break the rule. Run your index fingers slowly across the middle row right now without looking. Left index moving across the left side of the board. Right index across the right. At some point, each finger crosses a ridge, a small raised line running horizontally across the surface of a single key. You have pressed those keys thousands of times. You have never felt that ridge as a piece of information because you were never supposed to receive it with your eyes. It is on F and on J, and it was not put there to tell you where those two keys are. You already know where they are. It was put there to tell you where every other key is. From those two ridges, a trained hand can reach any of the 104 keys on a full keyboard without the eyes leaving the screen, without a single glance downward, without a millisecond of broken concentration between the thought forming in the mind and the word appearing on the page. The bump on F and J is a navigation system for the human hand operating independently of the human eye. And the reason it exists on those two specific keys and nowhere else begins not with an engineer or a standards committee, but with a court reporter from Salt Lake City, who in 1888 did something in public that nobody had ever done before, and that everyone who saw it immediately understood would change everything. Before 1888, typing was a visual activity. The typewriter had existed in commercial form since 1874, when the Scholes and Glidden machine went into production through Remington & Sons. It sold slowly at first. Businesses were skeptical. Handwriting had worked for centuries, and a machine that required training seemed an expensive solution. It produced a sound like a small mechanical rainstorm, but the machine's speed advantage over handwriting was real for anyone willing to learn it. By the 1880s, typing had become a profession. Typists. A new category of worker who sat at a keyboard and transferred dictated or handwritten text into clean printed pages at speeds no copyist with a pen could match. What those typists were doing was called hunt and peck. Eyes down, finger extended, find the key, strike it, find the next key, strike it. The process was fundamentally a visual search operation, and the speed ceiling it imposed was absolute. You cannot type faster than you can look and find. Professional typists in 1887 averaged between 30 and 40 words per minute using this method, limited by the physics of how quickly a human eye can locate a target. Frank mcgurrin already knew there was a faster way. He had been practicing it alone for 2 years before anyone asked him to prove it. He had memorized the keyboard. Not approximately. Not well enough to find most keys without looking. Completely. Every key in every position mapped so thoroughly into his muscle memory that his fingers knew where to go before his conscious mind had finished forming the word. Completely. Every key in every position mapped so thoroughly into his muscle memory that his fingers knew where to go before his conscious mind had finished forming the word. He practiced in the dark. He practiced with his eyes closed. He practiced until the keyboard existed in his hands as a spatial reality. The technique required that the fingers rest in a default position between keystrokes. A home, a known location. That position was the middle row of the keyboard. Left-hand fingers on A, S, D, and F. Right hand on J, K, L, and semicolon. He called it typewriting by touch. Nobody else was doing it. In July 1888, a Cincinnati newspaper organized what it advertised as the world's first typewriting contest. A public competition between the best typists in the country. Speed and accuracy measured simultaneously. The winner to be declared the fastest typist in America. Louis Taub entered as the heavy favorite. He was an experienced professional who looked at the keyboard while he typed. The crowd expected him to win. mcgurrin typed without once looking at the keyboard. His eyes stayed on the source document the entire time, while Taub's eyes moved back and forth between document and keys in the endless visual loop that every other typist in the room was trapped inside. mcgurrin's eyes never moved from the page he was copying. His hands operated entirely from memory, entirely from the spatial map he had spent 2 years burning into his fingers. mcgurrin won at 95 words per minute with higher accuracy than every competitor. Taub finished second. The gap between them was not close. The audience understood they had seen a method rather than a result. The method of not looking was faster, and it would eventually make the old method obsolete. Within a decade, touch typing was being taught in business schools. Within 2 decades, it was the professional standard. The touch typist became the benchmark. The home row position became the foundation of every typing curriculum. And 2 of those 8 keys needed a way to tell the fingers they had found home. The home row has 8 keys. Only 2 of them got the bump, and the choice was not arbitrary. In home row position, the index fingers are the navigators. The index fingers are the ones that reach away to strike keys in adjacent rows and then return. They are the ones most likely to land 1 key off position after a complex movement. The bump tells the index finger it has come home correctly. Not the middle finger, not the ring finger, the index. Because the index is the one doing the traveling and the one that needs confirmation on return. F and J are also the natural resting position. The placement is symmetric. 2 anchors so that either hand finding its bump knows the other is in the right place. The bumps did not appear on keyboards overnight. Early typewriters had no tactile homing feature at all because touch typing was not yet common enough to demand one. As mcgurrin's method spread through American business culture through the 1890s and 1900s, typists began modifying their own keyboards, filing small notches, attaching tiny pieces of material, creating their own tactile reference points because the machine had been designed before the technique that needed it existed. Manufacturers noticed. By the early 20th century, some models were shipping with small features, different manufacturers solving the same problem differently. The International Organization for Standardization eventually formalized it. ISO 9241-4 specifies that keyboards must provide tactile feedback at the home row. Every major manufacturer converged on the same solution, a small horizontal ridge, raised 2 to 3/10 of a millimeter, invisible to a casual glance. Every keyboard sold now carries those 2 ridges. Underneath the branding, they are exactly where mcgurrin's fingers needed them to be in 1887. The same principle is running in objects you use every day without recognizing it. The number 5 on every ATM keypad has a raised dot. Not because 5 is a special number, because 5 is the center key of a 9-key grid, and a finger that finds the 5 knows where every other number is. The number 5 on every telephone keypad has the same dot. Every numerical pad manufactured for use where the user's eyes are occupied elsewhere. Elevator buttons in many buildings have braille labels as tactile navigation for sighted users in dim conditions or when their vision is occupied. The entire principle is the same in every case. A raised physical marker at a known reference point allows the hand to navigate a surface that the eye cannot currently see. The hand builds a spatial map from the single piece of certain information the marker provides and extends that map outward to every surrounding position by memory and proportion. The bump on F and J is the seed that makes the map possible for every person who learns to type without looking. Without the anchor, the map cannot exist. Without the anchor point, the map has no origin. Without the origin, the map cannot exist. Without the map, the fingers are lost the moment the eyes look away. 2 ridges smaller than a fingernail, holding the entire architecture of modern typing in place. Close your eyes right now and put your index fingers on the keyboard. Do not look. Do not adjust after placing. Just put them down wherever they land. Now feel for the bumps. If your left index is on F and your right is on J, you are in home position, and from here you can reach every key on the board without opening your eyes. The Q is 2 rows up and 3 keys left from your left index. The M is 1 row down and 2 keys right from your right index. Every key at a fixed memorized distance from the 2 ridges under your fingertips. If one finger is on the wrong key, the bump tells you immediately, no visual confirmation required. The absence of the ridge under an index finger is the entire signal. Move left, move right, find the ridge. You are home. What your fingers just did is what Frank mcgurrin spent 2 years teaching his hands to do in the dark in Salt Lake City before anyone believed it was possible. The bump was put there so that every person who followed him would not have to start from nothing. It was a shortcut through the dark that someone left behind. You just never knew to be grateful for it until right now.